You got to remember the videos we'd seen before this had come out, had been Flex Wheelers where he's literally oiled up and like studio training.
Yeah.
The old Lee Haney stuff, all the Flex magazine produced videos that were out that were all studio workouts, leotards, yellow tank tops, all that stuff.
Yep.
And then Dorian puts an ad in the magazine for this video. And we got it and everyone was just like,
oh yeah.
What? This is like the most hardcore thing anyone had ever seen. Like this blew people's minds. Okay, welcome to It's Just Bodybuilding Reacts. And we're going to watch Blood and Guts today. We're just getting the end of Dorian doing calves here on the leg day.
We had so many people ask for us to do Blood and Guts. So this is something like literally everybody's been waiting for.
We were debating whether to do legs or back, and we decided on back, so we're just going to let legs finish here. Yeah, I remember when I met Dorian in '93. I remember I went to a seminar, and he had just won the '93 Olympia.
Yeah.
And I asked him, I was like, man, your calves are unbelievable. Like, you know, I know you don't do a lot of sets. And he goes, no, I'm the wrong guy to ask. He goes, I just do 2 sets a week for calves. That's it.
Yeah.
And that is huge. So this.
You have this machine.
Yeah.
I love this machine.
It's a good one. Somebody told me this isn't the real machine though. Somebody told me that this is a knockoff that somebody he knew made.
It's possible. No. I know Anth Bales has
he owns it.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. Now in their gym.
Okay.
One of my favorite quotes, Leroy says it when they get ready for the work set, I think. He says, all right, let's throw this piece of shit out or something like that. Like there, he just said it.
So this is a working set here now or what, Ron?
Yeah, I think so.
Every single rep exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. No kidding, Dusty.
That's a movement I feel like it's gotten lost. That like is such a great one.
So his prep set was explosive and quality, you know, and perfect. His prep set wasn't like sloppier form than his, you know, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is great.
Get in there. Come on. Let's get nasty.
Let's get nasty.
There you go.
It's classic.
I remember when this came out, nasty pullovers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Man, I can feel every fiber contracting through the old VHS black and white technology here.
I love how he makes him finish the reps, but doesn't take it.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That was the rep they came for. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the mentality, right? That's how everyone thought after they saw this video. That's the one. I get it. That's the one. Like, I love how Leroy, he says a couple times, break the machine.
Yeah.
Like, you know, break the machine. You know, it's just a tool. It's like a hammer.
I like this machine.
Perfect.
Oh,
Look at those reps. And holding it at the bottom, like that's where it's at its heaviest, right?
Yeah. You know, we see so many people that are not bringing their elbow all the way down now.
Yeah.
Do you see that, Dusty? They're kind of coming in.
Yeah.
It's like their elbow's like basically parallel with the floor. That's the bottom.
Yeah.
Or, you know, their upper arm is parallel to the floor. I like seeing this. This is the way I feel like we're supposed to
I like the stretch of it too, though. Look at the stretch.
Yes.
Through
Oh, dude,
the arms.
no question.
You're letting them go, and I don't know where that got lost, but now like you're doing it wrong if you do it like this, which is obviously I don't mean that. I'm just saying that's how people act.
But we
It's
talked
nuts
about
to me.
like my back training, Dusty, when I brought my back up. That was what I was missing, was that little stretch. There was just that little end part of letting it stretch out at the top, like he is right there. Right. That top, that's what I missed.
And notice on even though that's a prep set, even the last rep of the warm up, he gave it that little stretch before setting it down.
Yeah,
that's enormous.
Yeah,
give it that second. That stretch is magic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Stretch and pull.
A lot of people
he said.
Leave that
stretch and pull.
They leave that negative on that last rep. It drives me batshit.
Yeah, set it down real quick.
You just left one on the table. That's your left one. See how his chest stays up real high.
Yeah,
we're not pulling the biceps. It's all lat. That's so much weight on that machine, by the way. 2 hands at a time. Like, that's absurd.
What does he have on there?
I think it's like 4 plates.
Yeah, it's like almost 4 plates, but his form is, especially 2 hands at a time, right? Both hands at the same time.
Yeah, I do it with single, and 4 is like a brutal 8 reps. Like double, forget that. That's 3 1/4 max.
Two plates is good for me. Like 2 plates is a nice hard workout.
Do you think we'd be stronger though if we had a do-rag? Something to think about.
And that tank top, that like t-shirt made into
t-shirt, yeah.
That's key. Could also be all the muscle that we could use.
Yeah, I would look a lot different in that shirt. If I were to take this shirt and cut it all up like that, it wouldn't have the same effect, I don't think.
So I remember I got this video. I ordered it out the back of a magazine in late 96.
Yeah.
And it arrived in January of 97. And I remember this because I had just started my diet for my first show that day.
Nice.
It's a sign.
And it arrived in the mail. And I ran downstairs and I watched the whole thing before I went to the gym.
Yeah. That's cool, man.
I love
it. Big weight for a small woman. That's the line. Big weight for a small woman. I love it. It's just this stuff that he said that was like him and Leroy is just hilarious, man. But it was all like, you got to remember the videos we'd seen before this had come out, had been Flex Wheelers where he's literally oiled up and like studio training.
Yeah.
The old Lee Haney stuff, all the Flex magazine produced videos that were out that were all studio workouts, leotards, yellow tank tops, all that stuff.
Yep.
And then Dorian puts an ad in the magazine for this video. And we got it, and everyone was just like,
oh, yeah.
What? This is like the most hardcore thing anyone had ever seen. Like, this blew people's minds.
Yeah.
I love that they had the thought process to know to put it in black and white, too. Because it just does make it a little... Like, that's common now because of this.
Yeah. So the story is that Kevin Horton, who shot it, they were editing it, and they had it edited, and it was still in color. And Dorian was like, man, I thought it would look a little more hardcore or something, because of how the gym looks. And Kevin Horton just flipped the switch. Well, what about that?
No kidding.
Yes.
And they were like, yep.
Man, his technique looks so good on this movement. Like, there's a lot of people that I think just can't barbell row very like this. I wish, dude, if I could row like this, like with that quality, I would row every day. But my rows, like my lower back, it just doesn't look this way. He just looks. I guess what I'm saying is he looks like a natural at it.
Yeah, his back naturally moves like that. And you watch him do these too, just the way his lat it just looks like the lat's doing all the work of the row.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. Since I had delved into working on improving my back training a couple of years ago, I haven't seen this since before that. So seeing this now, it's like I'm seeing all these things that make so much sense to me that I don't think I saw in the past, honestly.
Right.
Oh,
so Scott, that's the first time I went to Temple Gym.
Yeah.
this was the exact workout, of course, I had to do when I got there.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, so you walk in and you're like, okay. I mean, I'm sure every first timer at Temple Gym does this workout.
Yeah.
Like you just walk through it, but not everyone gets to train with Dorian when they do it like I got to. So that was kind of a win.
You got lucky, man. That was cool. And you know what? He probably saw everybody else doing that workout too, but he saw you doing it and he thought he'd step in.
No, all it was he was training with a guy. Like I think he was training a guy. Yeah. And he was training with him, and they needed all the shit because I was using his stuff. I was literally going in his order. So it wasn't like, he was just like, I guess you mind if we just train together? And I'm like, is that a trick question? Do I want to train back with Dorian Yates in Temple Gym in Birmingham, England? Yeah, I think I do. And if I die tomorrow, it's fine.
Yeah, or right here in the gym.
Let me finish the last one.
This was that rear delt machine that Hammer made for like a short period of time. And
I've seen this. Yeah.
They're hard to find, but they actually, aside from the fact they take up way too much space, they're actually really good. Like it's a great rear delt machine.
Yeah.
It's just
imagine though, so you've got such a small amount of space in the gym, right, Ron? And the fact that this was a piece he chose to put in there.
Yeah.
Like rear delts. You can do them 100 ways with a dumbbell or whatever else. That is a very strong sign of what he thought of this piece. You know? That's like a garage gym if you've ever been there, essentially. Like, it ain't much bigger than a 3-car garage, I can tell you that much.
Yeah. I think he does dumbbells next, dumbbell rear delts. And Leroy says, let's see that chunky movement.
He's the most famous one-liner in all of bodybuilding of all time.
Yeah. Well, him and tied with Ronnie, I think.
Yeah, valid point.
Wait till it hits set. You'll hear it.
All right.
Come on, man, let's do it.
Getting psyched.
Hold him to the rear and squeeze them.
There you go.
Come on, Diesel. Let's see it. Straight in. Good. Yes.
Those aren't leggings, by the way.
Nice. Keep pulling. Do it again. Yes. Good. That's the way.
That's the way.
I love the paneling, too. Every good gym has paneling in it, Ron. You should take a cue.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. And these are like the only exercise that Dorian did that I said, fuck that. I never did these because they like literally made my neck feel like it was going to break. I held weight on my chest.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because think about it, you're pulling towards your neck with your hands.
Yeah.
As you're exploding up, you're like, no. Yeah. Okay. I should mention that, Scott. I did not do this.
No. Okay. You skipped it. Sat out on the.
We skipped this motion.
Yeah.
I actually forgot this was here.
Meadows had us doing a lot of these with a band instead.
Yes.
Well, that's how smart people do it.
Yeah. Getting strong at that strengthened up my lower back, like protected it so much.
Getting strong on your low back made your low back strong?
Surprise, right?
Well, it's a low back movement, Scott. So,
so here is a movement that I think needs to make a huge comeback.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just what I call a bodybuilding deadlift. Like, this is what I did the most of. See, he doesn't touch the floor.
It's a rack dead without a rack.
It's a rack dead without hitting the rack. You're keeping constant tension, full control. You're not using a dumb weight because you have to pick it up off the floor at the beginning. So you're not using like a ridiculous rack weight where you can't actually handle it. 9
plates aside.
Yeah.
It's almost a modified stiff leg in a way. Like there's a lot of hamstring in it still. But there's a bit of leg drive and deadlift action.
Can we point out the shoes, by the way? I just want to randomly bring
he doesn't have to be in his socks. He's completely capable of deadlifting in Nikes. He's wearing Jordans, I think, isn't he?
It
looks kind of like it.
Bulky ass shoes. I don't know what they are.
your micromanagement
of all the wrong details.
Yeah, focusing on all the stuff that almost doesn't matter at all.
Except for the paneling. Keep in mind, guys,
that makes perfect
paneling
sense.
is important.
And see the ghetto blasters speak like the speaker hanging in the corner.
Yeah, you got to have that.
And then you got to run a wire from somewhere, and it's stapled. Good panel, you know it's stapled. You know they did it with staples.
That's good. That was amazing. That was something I needed to see.
Let it play.
All right.
It's also too when you watch this, the soundtrack that's on it too, because he's just playing his gym stereo. So it's Pearl Jam 10 when he's warming up on this. So he's I think it's Pearl Jam 10 that's playing on shoulder day, but you know there's some AC/DC playing. There's some Guns N' Roses playing at one point. It's funny the music that's and no licensing or anything. They just release a video, no one cares about Mr. Olympia.
We're probably gonna get blasted for just being in the background of a video we're watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is available.
Talk over it
30 years later. Yeah.
So I have used that Smith. It is probably almost 100-pound bar.
No kidding.
Because it's that giant frame. See the whole frame moving?
Yeah, everything's moving, yeah.
It's like real heavy.
Yeah.
There's no counterbalancing or anything. It's almost like 100 pounds. It's like a big machine.
That's wild.
I like how small the Smith looks because he's in it.
Yeah.
Like
dominate the machine.
That's a full-size normal Smith. It just looks funny because he's underneath of it.
Yeah. Look at the delts in his shirt.
Insanity.
I had that shirt Leroy's wearing. Bright blue.
Bright blue.
See how under it he is?
Yeah. He can't lean his head forward. He'll take his face off.
Yeah. Man, just that intensity level.
Scott, you gotta understand too that the screaming comes up the stairs and into the alley too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So when you come around the corner there the first time, you get chills because you'll hear it and you're like, if you didn't know what bodybuilding was, you'd be like, don't go down there. It's not good.
Yeah.
Let's go to war.
The only person that's better as a training partner to scream at you is Dino.
Dino? Yeah. Man, that guy's so passionate. He is. It'd be fun to have Dino on the show if we could ever line that up time-wise.
Oh, he'd do it. For
Yeah,
sure.
time-wise. We'd have to do it at a weird hour or something, I bet,
I always wake him up in the middle of the night. It's fine.
Yeah. It's bodybuilding. It's bodybuilding. He'll be up for it.
Look at the form on these ladders. I know it's simple, but oof.
And that's not light.
After this video came out, all the hardcore guys did seated dumbbell laterals, and their training partner sat behind them and spotted them like that. It was like everyone did it. It was just staple. Like that's how you did laterals. Yeah, and then you did partials. Yeah.
You had to be so pumped up, man, getting this video the first day of your first prep.
You know what the funny thing is when I got it, my dad was home and he picked it up and looked at it and he goes, And he looked at the back and I go, yeah, it's all of his workouts for the Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
And my dad's like, oh. And then I went downstairs and I pressed play, and I remember my dad came downstairs and sat and watched the whole thing with me.
No kidding.
And at the time, my dad hadn't really paid, he didn't really think much of my bodybuilding. I never really, he wasn't like, oh, it's awesome or anything. But he came down and he watched this whole video.
Huh.
And I remember he was like, Like he was really probably gave him
something clicked for him, huh?
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I get what my boy's doing. He's not just putting on a Speedo and getting up on stage.
Yeah. He saw what was going on,
Oh. I made my parents watch Raise the Bar. You remember that movie? With Dave Pulcinella?
Yeah. Raising the Bar.
Yeah.
I wasn't there 3 of those?
Yeah, I have them on DVD. I have the box set of them. Yeah.
You just let me borrow them, but I'm going to need to borrow the DVD player also.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Mike still sells it on you know, he doesn't have DVDs anymore. They just do like the digital releases now.
Right, yeah.
My favorite side raise exercise ever.
It is a good one.
I took this from Jay, though, and I do it behind the back, and I like it better.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That just showed the difference of how old I was when I got into bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I took it from Jay.
Right.
Ron took it from Dorian.
Yeah.
See the 4 straps?
Yeah.
Remember, this
is
is
the size of the camera, by the way, that he's filming with. That was great.
Yeah.
Just the amount of muscle just sitting there, mind-boggling. Thickness, density.
And it's a different time because if you think about it, like a lot of the young guys now, they're looking up to, you know, guys like Chris Bumstead, which I get it. He's got a crazy physique, but you can see the difference of people who were influenced by this. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
This is what brought you in.
We used to do these. I think Leroy says something here.
Yes. Right up there. That's the way. Push him to the back. That's the way.
And I'm going to go train right now.
Scott walks off.
I'm about to.
Clanging.
Yeah, you can hear Pearl Jam.
Yeah, we're going to turn that down just a little bit.
Keep down. Good call.
Pretty sure there's a good Leroy quote in this on this set.
Eddie Vedder's voice is unmistakable.
Yeah.
You know?
Beautiful.
Just heavy ass dumbbell shrugs.
Yeah.
That's the movement. Flat bar too. My wrists are just screaming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's no straight bar for me on that. That's an easy bar every time.
That's funny. I love the old Vallejo belt too, by the way.
I noticed that. Yeah.
You know, just had a Vallejo on the whole time. Just standard attire.
Yep.
It's funny if we watch right to the end of the video, there's a few little clips that are still in color.
Oh, yeah.
And you see how bright, because it's the 90s, right? So you forget, like, Leroy's shirt is, like, bright green with pink writing on it. Like,
oh, yeah.
This is, like, we were, like, kind of shocked with the amount of color. It's one thing to go from, like, gray and blue to black and white. But
I just assumed that if you trained at Temple, that when you walked in, everything turned
everything
black and white.
just turned black and white. You know? Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like when you see the colored footage. You're like,
yeah,
whoa, like what is this? It's like the Wizard of Oz. Like, you know, get to that part where everything gets color and you're just like shocked.
Yeah.
Another thing about this video was that he was like really early in his prep, I think. So it's still basically off season.
Yeah.
You know, and how he looked like. I think this was shot when he was like just coming out of off season, basically. So you kind of like showed everybody like, oh, he's not like oiled up and training in shorts. You know what I mean? It's like the real shit.
Yeah. Which is like the opposite of the last one we watched, the 88. You know, training into the O and 88.
See, that's how I always did my skull crushers, was end of a bench with an easy bar and then kind of out at an angle.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, somebody mentioned, they're like, hey, that video, the footage they had of that last one, they said the footage of Gary Stridham was shot the day after the Olympia, and it was during a photo shoot. And he was like, and if you look in the background, you can see me because I was there.
Oh, no way.
One of our listeners said that. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome. I've had people come up and show me pictures of cool stuff.
Yeah.
And like when we talked about my buddy has that picture with Dorian at the 91 Olympia,
Yeah, yeah.
Like and it's like, oh, you were there, man. There's a guy at my gym, he'd be in his late 60s, but he was down in Gold's Venice when Arnold was there. He was like, back when Arnold was Mr. Olympia, he went and trained at Gold's Venice back then. And so he's got some cool stories.
I bet.
He's like, yeah, I knew Ken Waller, actually talked to him all the time, and like all that whole crew of guys. It was really funny.
That'd be so cool. Hey, did you see him doing those skull crushers? I would say this. I'd like to put Dusty up next to him with Dusty's 225 skull crushers.
Oh, damn.
And let's see who can do more. I think that I put my money on Dusty, I think, on that one.
Well, skull crusher is a little bit different, though, like the execution, I think, like Ron said, a true skull crusher to me is over your head, almost touching the bench.
Okay.
Even though it has nothing to do with your skull. And then the elbows actually drift back. You know what I mean?
So right.
For that, like 135 is brutal in those. It really comes down to if your focus is on the stretch or the weight, and I used to do both.
Okay.
It's just those ones don't get as much action on the YouTubes.
Yeah.
I used to love this exercise, and then it got to a point where I had some like golfer's elbow or tennis elbow or whatever.
Yeah.
And I just was never able to do them again. I just had to go to a hammer grip, like a rope or something.
I would strap with those. If I strapped my hand in, then I'd be all right because I got the same thing.
I think the other thing that gets lost in this a little bit on the timeline is when this was, like, he was so much bigger than everyone else.
Yeah.
And now there really are a lot of guys that are that size. Not that good, but that size.
See, watch this. See like the
oh,
focus,
yeah.
see how like bright pink shirt. Yeah, see the blue? See the blue? I had that same shirt, yeah. So you get like a peek into what the colors were actually like, There he is with Lewis. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was so awesome, man. That video came out, and I remember I had been like a huge fan already, right? And because I think, what is he? He's 92, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I guess 5-time Mr. Olympia in that video,
right?
And or 4-time, I can't remember when he made it, but yeah, I'd already was such a huge fan that I'd already tailored my training around everything I'd read about him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when Blood and Guts arrived and I watched it, I remember this massive, because I already trained with the guys in Australia. We were fans. I'd already trained with guys at a high level. And there was just this massive confirmation.
Yeah.
I was like, this is exactly what I've been doing.
Right.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I've been doing. Like the 4 reps on the hack squat and going hard on the extensions and, like pushing down on machines and the stuff that Leroy does. I'm like, this is exactly what we were doing. This is awesome. Just keep doing this.
Was there anything? Was there anything that was different? Anything where you're like, oh, hey, I haven't tried it. No, nothing.
No, because literally the only changes was that I was training at a gym that didn't have any hammer equipment. That was the only difference.
Okay. Yeah.
So instead of 1-arm hammer rows, I was doing 1-arm dumbbell rows. And instead of the hammer pressed on the chest thing, I was doing like a machine press.
Yeah.
But like I remember watching, and the differences were like on one hand. Right. Because I'd already read everything. Like that was another thing about Dorian, was what he said he did. Actually, like there was a time in the 80s when everything was ghost written. And like Lee Haney's championship routine wasn't really Lee Haney's routine. It was just someone wrote it, put it in an article, put a bunch of pictures with it, right?
Right.
Maybe Lee Haney told the guy what he did, and then the guy wrote the article, right? But the Dorian stuff, it was so simple because of how he trained that it actually kind of made it through translation really well, and it got printed properly. And like it was part of the shock value was to see it written down. Right? Like to see it written was like part of the shock value. So like magazines weren't shy about writing what he was actually doing because it was actually part of like the attraction to everyone wanted to read about it. What do you mean one set of lying leg curls? Lying leg curls, one set. Standing leg curls, one set. Stiff leg deadlift, one set. They're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And it was like the craziest thing. And so there was plenty of stuff written about him. Like magazines learned that people wanted to read about Dorian, like it sold, you know? Yeah. And everyone was trying to try it. And it was just a huge confirmation. I was like, man, this is awesome, you know? So we just kept doing what we were doing. But yeah, it was definitely like the industry had never seen anything like it. And the average person had never seen anything like it because they hadn't trained with guys that trained like that. Like we'd already trained that way. Right. But the average person that saw Blood and Guts, like I remember people handing copies of Blood and Guts. Like everyone was, you got to watch this, you know, passing it around the gym and stuff. Yeah. It was crazy. That video it was such a huge impact.
It's wild. It is wild. This is a fun one. It's each one of these videos has like a different vibe, a different energy, and it's cool because I've been like pumped by every single one of them so far.
It's funny how every champion has like things that they leave the culture with. You know, like all the great champions leave bodybuilding culture with some things that are, you know, Ronnie was, you know, parking lot lunges and buddy and lightweight and deadlifting. And, you know, he had all those things. I said, you know, people didn't really deadlift like power lifters until Ronnie was champion, you know? Yeah. And, you know, and Dorian left people with like the style of training and the intensity and the fucking, you know, the kind of like, you know, that whole thing. And he left people that video. That was a huge, like, just, I'm dropping this on bodybuilding culture and it's going to just forever be relevant and part of the history of freaky bodybuilding, you know? And it was one of his main contributions, you know, at the end of it, 6 Mr. Olympias, but that video was extraordinarily impactful. Like, I can't express enough how it blew people away in the late 90s when that video came out. It was 96, I think. Just boom. So good time, guys. I enjoyed watching that.
Absolutely.
It also made gym owners all around the world go, oh no, everyone's screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is everyone screaming? Why is everyone yelling at everyone all of a sudden?
Yeah. Before they were just stimulating and not annihilating. But this
is different. They were stimulating and not annihilating. And now it's
all annihilating.
Break the machine.
Yeah.
You know, the best.
Don't break the machine.
Yeah. Don't really.
Don't break the machine. The best line is when he's doing hack squats. There's a scene where he's doing hack squats. And I listened to it a million times. And I swear, Leroy says, because Debbie is in the scene. She's on the other side of the hack, and she's kind of helping spot. It's like she wanted to hop in for a minute and get in the video, right?
Yeah.
And Leroy says, come on, Diesel, show the wife.
That's great.
And it's like right as he's about to unrack the machine. So like, it's serious business. Like, it's not like joke time. Like, he's like, show the wife.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I will. Yeah. Let's go. I love it. It's full of gems. Okay. Well, this has been It's Just Bodybuilding Reacts. And we had a great time. I had a good time, man. Remember, like, share, subscribe, comment, and
ring the bell.
For all you newbies that don't know, you got to push the buttons for the show. So, and remember, I didn't mean to. And remember, IamMutant.com. Check out I Am Mutant, get your ISO Surge, get your all-in madness, and everyone should get on the gear.
Yes.
And remember, Dusty 20 or Big Ron 20. You can alternate, or you can just use one. I don't care.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. Just get your savings. It's about you.
Okay, and remember our normal It's Just Bodybuilding episodes are every Wednesday. So if you like these reacts, you got to tune in and watch an actual normal show. We have a lot more to offer than just our idiot opinions of old videos.
We have our own idiot opinions.
Yeah, we have other idiot opinions. We have idiot opinions of all your questions. Yeah.
It is what it is.
Okay. Thanks, guys. It's just bodybuilding. There we go.
All right.
Can you edit that? It's good? Okay.
It's good. It's perfect. It's perfect.
There we go.
All right.
All right, guys.
I'll talk to you guys.
See ya.
Oh, one more thing. I got an idea. What did each Mr. O contribute to our community, contribute to bodybuilding? I just thought of that. Like, and we don't have to do all of them, but we could start with like Dorian on. What did each one contribute? That'd be a great topic down the road. I'll write it down.
Awesome topic.
Like it.
Write it down.
It is.
All right. See you guys.
Okay. See ya. Bye.